welcome back to Let's Talk About That. Today, we have Crystal Miller.
Ooh. Another Miller in the house.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
baby. Got
Yeah.
Millers in the house today.
Okay.
So, Crystal,
Yeah.
what is it that you do?
So I sell real estate. I'm with Remax Results in Goshen.
Nice.
Yep. We have I believe we have 9 locations throughout Indiana. But yeah, I sell real estate.
So, real estate has been something that's been just booming. Booming. So, how are you feeling at this moment in your life with everything happening like it is right now?
So, okay, how I'm feeling. So I would say not as crazy as what I did during COVID. COVID was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's when we saw all the houses selling within hours of being listed.
real.
Way over.
It was like the world was ending,
Oh,
right?
It really
like
was.
we have to buy everything. Everything must
And
be
toilet
bought
paper,
They have anything to do, so they're just
Yeah.
like, oh, well,
I need
we forgot
house
about
and
moving,
toilet
so why
paper
not now?
right
It
now.
was crazy.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was just
It was.
standing.
I mean, houses were selling within hours, literally hours of being listed. They were going way over asking price. There was multiple offers. I mean, I remember having, 30 offers on one house. Like, that's insane.
yeah.
And like, a lot of people weren't working at that time. So like, there was also some they were laid off or like they weren't going in.
And they
like,
were
the-
buying?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So
it didn't make no sense to me, really.
It really didn't. It was kind of a weird time. So like even like I would say the only thing that like running into at that point in time was like when the lender would do like their final verification of employment and stuff like that. Some people didn't have jobs.
This is real awkward.
They were like, yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
Like,
he's not working
I
right
don't
now.
have a job.
well, I
but,
could have a job,
but
I will give you $2 million that I don't have. Let's do
I
it.
don't understand how a lot of these lenders lended money during that
Just-
time.
I don't know.
And
I
how
don't
many
know.
are like being foreclosed on now?
So that's an interesting thing. So as of recently, I have noticed, so there's like different websites with like foreclosures and stuff like that you can see. But there is a lot of houses that were sold in 2021
Mhm.
that are now foreclosing on or they're doing short sales on. During that era.
Yeah.
So during that time frame. So I do feel like people probably got themselves into a little bit of trouble
Right.
with the purchasing, $70,000 over asking price, no inspections, all that crazy stuff. So, I mean,
It was crazy
Yeah.
because those like homes and lifestyle books?
yeah.
Like before that, they used to be so thick. And then when all that happened, like you'd get one in there like
It's like a handout.
5 pages.
It's like a handout.
Each
Like
realtor had like half a page. Like
There's-
realtor
wow.
had,
I've
like
got-
splitting pages.
Yeah.
I've got
There you
3
go.
houses.
3 houses for
Yeah.
sale.
So do you guys have
20
like
of
some
us.
like secret houses that like these houses are coming and I know people on my hit list waiting for, do you have that, like those secret deals sometimes that
So it is nice to be in an office with so many agents.
Uh-huh.
Like we have, I think 30 some or something. It is nice to be in an office like that because they're like, hey, I'm going to be listing a house in this area at this price range. Like if you have any buyers,
just saying,
just so you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yo.
like I heard there's something that may be coming to market. And if you remember that one person you said wanted it,
Yeah.
how about we just close this deal today?
Well,
Right.
and so there
Sold
are
before it even
yeah,
gets
because then they're fighting for it, man.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna lose it. I'm telling you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And it is a fight. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
feel like it is a fight for buyers to get a house.
Mhm.
I would say the last 3 years, I would say it's been a fight for buyers to get a house.
Mhm.
Wow.
They really have to be competitive with their offers.
Well, in some years back, it was like hard just trying to sell,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
right?
What- yeah. So like, for instance, I bought my first house in 2018. No, 15. Just
Okay.
kidding. 2015. I bought my first house and it was on the market for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months.
Hmm.
I went and saw it 2, 3 times. I ended up making an offer for like 15,000 less. And they were like, yeah, that's cool. They'll take
Oh,
it.
so you hit
And
him
I
with
was like,
you hit him with a gut check,
yeah, I did.
Well, yeah, trust me. When all that happened, I bought my house probably 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Found it on Craigslist for
Oh,
one.
Oh, no.
Bought it for $140,000. I have 5 acres out here in Bristol
Dang.
on the Upper St. Joe with a 35 by 50 two-story.
Dude,
pole
you're a
barn.
bandit. You're a bandit.
And when
You're
all
you're
this,
a
when
crook.
all that was going on, when all that housing thing
stole
was
it.
going on,
Yeah.
it got appraised for almost $500,000.
And you bought it for
I could-
140.
I could have sold it for that, but it was like,
Why?
it was like,
Because it's a $500,000 property.
but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I could have got all that, but I would have turned around and spent all of that on something for less than what I've already in because of how heavy that market was.
Yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
got a cabana or like,
I mean, at that
a beach
price,
towel. A beach
I was
towel.
ready to just get an RV and just go.
And glam it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my
Glamp it out.
24/7.
Yeah.
You just see an RV parked out back here.
Oh, is that your ride?
Oh, Brian's there all the time.
It's a little busted. That was $500,000.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to put a shower in the office. Why?
So, Crystal, let's talk about why did you become a realtor?
Yeah, how'd you get into it?
So, okay. Long ago, I would say in like 2011, 2012, I was with somebody and his mom is actually still a real estate agent. And she's like, I think you would be great at it. And at the time I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm perfectly content where I'm at, what I'm doing. I think at the time I was waitressing at Hunter's Hideaway in Napanee.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Heard of that?
Yeah. So I think that's what I was doing at the time. And I was like, no, I'm like perfectly content where I'm at. I enjoy my job. Like, I don't know that I want to do that. Well, fast forward to 2017, I had my daughter, and Craig was like, we agreed that we really want me to stay at home with our daughter for the first year. And so I was like, okay, but like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? And he's like, well, have you thought about real estate? And I was like, I mean, yeah, but like not like actually thought about it.
Right. Not
So,
seriously.
Yeah, not seriously. So he's like, you should really look into it. So I started looking into it, talked to some people. We actually, at that time, were looking at selling his house and buying a new house. Well, moving into mine. And then we each had our own houses at the time. And then buying a new house for ourselves. So my realtor at the time was actually with Remax Results, with who I'm at with right now.
Nice.
And so I talked to her about it. I'm like, hey, like, what do you think about this? And she's like, oh my gosh, just do it. Don't even
Just-
think about it. Just do
Just
it.
stop. Just
And
do
I was
it.
like, okay.
So, but it's not that simple. It's not just like plugging
No.
in and going like, yeah, I'm a realtor. Let's go. So what is the,
Yeah.
like, there's a process of that.
Yeah.
It's not just becoming a realtor. You also have to be somewhat a broker too.
So
Broker license in some format. So talk about that a little bit.
So you
Yeah.
do have there's a 90-hour course that you have
Okay.
to do.
Okay.
So once you've completed that, you do have to take the state test.
Yes.
So there's two portions of the test. There's the general exam part, and then there's the license law part.
Mhm.
When I took it, I did pass the general the first time. The license law, I had to take it twice.
You had to
pass
dig a
it.
little bit
Yeah,
deeper.
I had to, I had to dig
Yeah.
a little bit
That's
deeper.
where you start getting into the red tape,
Yeah,
and the bells and whistles,
Getting into
of
the
people.
meat.
Yeah.
the meat.
The meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Oh my gosh.
is this legal?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a lot of laws.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
a lot.
Is this okay? Should
Yeah,
I be
right.
saying this?
Yeah. So then after
Can I
that,
say this?
Yeah.
so what happens after you graduate your classes, they actually like blast out your name and number to every broker in the area. So you just get phone calls for like interviews and like, yeah. So
And there's a Pitbull concert.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be, I would have
Yeah. That happens.
Celebrate.
that happens.
It happens.
So, you
On your head.
interview.
Yeah.
So you interview with like different brokers just to
Yeah.
you want to make sure it's a good fit, whoever you're choosing to work with.
Right.
So then at that point they hold your license
Mhm.
once you've gotten your license, and then you do have to a broker does have to hold your license for 2 years before you could get your own. So like
Mhm.
I have my associates or what they call a broker's license, but like to be like a managing broker or to hold your own license, you have to, a broker has to hold your license for 2 years before you could hold your own license. So
And so like I know there's some realtors they can go like independent or they can work underneath a franchise, I guess I would say. Well, what's the best term for that? Like if it's Century 21 Remax, what is that? What is that? Is that more of a franchise? Okay.
Yep.
So under a franchise, you get more support with like structure, right? You get leads and marketing content and access, right?
Yeah.
Is that like kind of so like is that the Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like you kind of get like I'm not saying that the smaller guys don't, but like you also get like the best of the best technology. Like we have great platforms. We have great training. Like, I mean, we're there. You can be plugged in 24/7
and mentors too.
Yes.
So that's kind of huge. Like your network of people that have been in the business that can help you build your portfolio up basically.
Yeah.
And build your name out, right? Yeah.
So actually the biggest reason that I really liked Remax, our Remax was you have a mentorship program for the first 1 million in sales. So you have like this.
Freddie blew that out in the first month. It was COVID, baby.
Actually,
one house. What is it? It's 700 square foot. 1 mil.
2-bedroom.
Was it on the lake? No, it was on Franklin and Elkhart. Yeah.
Well, and so like you actually have them and they're like kind of at your disposal in a sense. Like they check over everything that you do just to make sure you're doing it right. They answer any questions that you have, all that good stuff. But for your first million, it did take me 1 year to get my first million. I did get my license in 2018. So, I mean, I wasn't in the
She's being modest.
It's like sitting at a good poker table with a good dealer and he's like, are you sure you want to do that? And you're like,
that's
no,
one.
Sure. Never mind. He's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
And that's like 1 million net.
Right.
No.
That's what she's being honest.
She's like,
my first million net.
She's like, I was done with my mentorship in my first week.
Yeah.
So educate us a little bit. What kind of stuff do you need for like a first time home buyer? Because that's not like stuff that you really learn. You just kind of experience it.
That's actually a really good point. Because first time home buyers, I feel like we need something in our community that educates first-time home buyers. I'm not sure what that would look like, but I mean,
we'll say how much time do we have?
Maybe I need to start. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I could jot down a whole list of things because I experienced a lot.
Well, you're in a sense clueless, like,
and then the whole like, there's like a whole worksheet on like after you buy the house.
Oh yeah,
things that you need to take care of on your house.
That's called lifing.
Normally doesn't happen.
Adulting, lifing,
whatever you want to call it.
Common sense.
Yeah.
There's some things.
But when you've been renting, and then you step into a home ownership, like that things have to be fixed by yourself. But like, okay, in my instance, like nobody ever told me how long a septic needs to go before it gets pumped.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
or changing your furnace filter.
Oh yeah, you do that every month.
Yeah.
So what all do you need to purchase?
So honestly, I would say for first-time home buyers, like I would say the best way to kind of educate yourself or get plugged in is contact a local real estate agent because I mean we have connections. We work with all sorts of lenders, all sorts of title companies. You know, we work with other agents, other companies, I would say finding a realtor to just be like, hey, here's the blueprint to what you need to do to get started. Like we need to get you connected with a lender. We need to see what we can get you approved for. You
kind of need to know that before you even go looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think that's important for the home buyer or seller to make sure they have the right realtor for them?
Absolutely. I feel like you want to, because like you want to vibe with your realtor. Like you don't want to feel uncomfortable. Like I feel like you should feel comfortable only because like you are trusting them to like help you find something and spend like, a whole life savings of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you
don't want to get a bunch of crap.
Something for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's a big purchase. Like I feel like that's like the largest purchase of anybody's life. And so like you want to trust the person.
Cars nowadays.
Well, that's true too.
Freaking houses.
Oh my God.
And isn't it like, so realtors can't really give 100% of their opinion and persuading a buyer to say like, yeah, I wouldn't do this, or like,
Oh.
you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to do that.
No,
But there's some things you could
there's some
say,
people
that's
that
a
do
nice
that.
I was gonna
fireplace.
say, I've had
That needs to be.
realtors-
Yeah.
When I was looking for houses,
Well, don't
I've
say their name because I don't think they're not supposed to do that.
I've had realtors.
Just saying.
Well, they wouldn't be like blatantly like.
Yeah, this is a
but they
dumpster
would
fire.
be like,
hey, don't
they'd
do
be like,
this.
hey,
Please,
this
I wouldn't do
might
that.
need some work. You know, are you
Yeah,
in
yeah.
depth to get this done? If you purchase this, is this in your budget to do?
Are you
I mean,
okay
I don't
with
think a
rebuilding the
realtor has
house?
Ever been like,
You
if
know-
I was be like, yo, I want to go look at this house. I don't think I've ever had a realtor be like,
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, I think we're good there because.
But the eyes
honestly-
tell the story,
Because,
right?
I mean,
you know, you're
because, I mean,
like,
honestly, if you think about it, they ultimately want to make the sale.
It also depends on what you're looking for. So if you're
True.
like, oh, I don't want to be in this area,
Yeah.
or I don't want to be in a bad area, then they'll be upfront and honest
Yeah.
with you, like, oh, no,
So-
that's a bad area. You don't want to be over there.
Yep.
But if you're looking for a house flip and
Yeah, well, it depends on what you're looking for, what area you're looking at. Because, like, you also want to, like, if you're moving to a new town or city that you have no idea anything about, I mean, do your research. Like,
Right.
and obviously, we help do that research. But, like, I would never be like, oh, no.
Right.
You're not buying that house. Like,
that guy
I will
next door.
do it.
Mm.
Yeah, right. Oh, but that has happened before.
I
The
bet.
neighbor walks out while you're at a show.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
Like, oh, no.
He's got his shirt off. He's like,
Actually, I just had it happen. This guy walked out. He did. He was shirtless. He was smoking a cigarette, and he had like a
Oh.
bulldog. And like the dog was like just growled at us, and we're just like. My buyer was like, I think I'm good. Actually,
no,
Let's move on
what's
to the next
next?
one.
What's next?
and
Yeah.
that's crazy because the house could have been really cool.
Why? Well, and we
But
did
like
go
a
through the house.
neighborhood
Yeah.
and neighbors.
Oh yeah.
That
It made
guy-
a
There's a lot to
difference.
do
It
with
was
it.
going to make it tough.
He didn't. Well, he didn't,
didn't
look
want
like he
them.
was real friendly. We said hello. He just like,
Oh, boy.
He's like, oh,
He just
no,
grunts.
no.
oh yeah. I'm like, oh okay.
Look.
Nice to see you. Have a great day. Bye.
Until next time.
Yeah.
So, what would you say? Because it's not always luxurious to be a realtor.
Well, no.
So, what are some of? Because I know we're kind of like pumping it up. Everybody's excited. They're talking about the millions of dollars you're going to make every week,
Every week.
and
Just hand over fist money.
yeah, and then, but like, what are some of the things you would like to share with us? I know you can't share all of them,
Yeah.
but what are some of the things that make the job a little difficult? Some obstacles. Let's call them
Challenges.
challenges.
Okay,
Yeah.
challenges. I would
Yes.
say some challenges. Ooh.
Hold on. She whips out a book. She's like,
let's see here.
She's like, none. I just rake in the dough all week.
yeah, millions per week.
Oh, no, it's
Day.
Day.
I mean, yeah.
I'm making money right now while I'm sitting here.
know, yeah.
Real talk right now. Like.
Right? So I would say some of the obstacles or challenges. So you have all sorts of different kinds of buyers. You have the investors. They are not emotionally attached to anything that they're purchasing, but they are also looking at stuff that you have to fix up. So you can walk into some of these houses and they are absolutely disgusting. I mean, you can hardly walk through some of them, or they're abandoned houses, or
Straight trash.
oh, they are. They're just, some of them are really gross. I wouldn't say that's necessarily an obstacle or a challenge, but like it's not a
But the vibe isn't
like-
good.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, gross.
you
But
have
like,
to be able to see through that and see the finished
so like,
product.
and they absolutely can. And like, don't get me wrong, I love my investors. I work with a handful of investors, and they're great. They're great.
You
but
heard that,
like,
guys?
I
They're great.
love that they do it because
Right.
I don't know that I could do it. I would have to hire somebody to do it for me or
I used
something.
to be on that end.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to flip houses out of high school.
No, and that's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
And then we got into rentals, and that was even more work.
Oh well, and you
Oh,
have
God.
consistent work after that. Like you get rented
Yeah,
in, and then you have to.
that was the breaking point of why
Yeah.
we got out of rentals.
Oh,
Just the
continually
turnaround. Yeah,
the
people
maintenance
would-
and the.
The management, the
Yeah,
people.
people wouldn't. You would totally go in and renovate a house, move somebody in that looked perfect on paper, and within 2-3 weeks, you go back for something. Maybe something broke. They call you up like, "Hey, a doorknob or something." You're like, "Oh, cool, not a problem."
It's
you
just-
walk over there and
it's
you
just
walk in,
trashed.
and it looks like they lived there for years and never cleaned once. You're like,
Oh.
"You've been here 3 weeks." You know, and then they do that. You go through renters that don't pay you anything since the
Or
day you moved
they're
in.
strong
And
rent
by the time
centers.
you go through the whole court process.
You know what I'm
and all
talking
that
about.
Thing, it's like, months down the road and you've lost so much
Yeah.
money, and then you have to go back in and redo it. It is, I do definitely.
Or that whole
Yeah.
those rent-a-center, like they don't have rent, but their house is decked out.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got their TVs,
gosh.
leather
But they're paying
couches,
$4,000,
And they're like, "Hey, I need some help this month."
TV.
and you're like, "Dude,
No.
like the Super Bowl's coming.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care about the freaking Super Bowl."
Well, and investors also had it difficult during COVID because there was the people that were struggling and didn't have jobs. They didn't have to pay their rent, so
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
investors weren't getting if they had rentals, they weren't getting their money out of their rentals.
Right.
So I really do give it to them because they have a hard job.
yeah.
But then I guess like other obstacles, like I would say the market for the last 3 years has kind of been an obstacle in a sense for buyers. Because sellers, it's not an obstacle for sellers. I mean,
They don't have to even do anything.
You put it
They don't
on
have
the
to clean their
market for
house.
Well, I mean, you should.
But they don't.
But I'm gonna say,
But,
like the way that
yeah,
the market's
like,
been lately,
they
you
don't
don't
care.
have to do like you used to back in the day. If you wanted to sell your
Oh,
house, you
and
cleaned
perfect.
it and you fixed some things and you
Staged it.
staged it. Yep, maybe take
Mhm.
some personal things out. Nowadays,
It could be
it's like,
holes in the wall.
Yeah.
Well,
They don't
you could be
care. They
living
can fix
in a
that.
fixer upper, and you're gonna get full price.
Well,
plus that.
yeah, and
People
so,
are gonna
like,
get in a bidding war over it.
yeah, well,
Mhm.
it's very true, very true. So like the buyer aspect of it is like, as a buyer, I've worked with buyers for a year, 2 years, and they've lost, they made offers on, 20, 30 houses
Mhm.
and lost out on every single one of them. And it's just like, that's very discouraging to someone who's looking for their, whether it's their
Yeah.
first home, whether they're downsizing, whether they're upgrading, like that's frustrating to go that long and to, lose out on something that you're
Yeah.
hoping to get and
Right.
continuously just because of the way the market is right now.
Yeah.
So, so it's really dangerous if you're like, "Hey, I see 4 houses I like. I'm going to put an offer on all of them." Like, do people do that?
No.
Okay.
That would be
'Cause
like
that would be-
a bad idea.
I know,
I'm not sure
I
you're
know.
even allowed to
Well,
do that, are you?
So
Oh, you
could get
can.
into a lot of like it
If
could
you have
get you
the
into
money.
a,
If you have the money to do it,
yeah.
yes.
It would get you in a very sticky situation because let's say 2 of those offers would get accepted. I mean,
Yeah, you're like, you have to come
really-
up with 2.
Well, and not just that, there's like also repercussions. Like there are things that sellers can do or like
If they accept your offer
if they
and
accept
you
it
back
and then you
out.
back out right away. I mean, yeah, you would lose your earnest money
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But there's consequences to doing something like
So
that.
don't do that,
It's not-
guys.
It's not
Do
something
not
I
put multiple
recommend.
offers on
No.
homes just to get a house.
No, don't do that.
It's bad.
Please don't.
So, what are some like do's and don'ts? Like, what are some like things that home buyers do that you're like challenges or mistakes that they do that you're like, oh, don't do
She
that.
wants the bloopers. Just give me the hard knots. Just tell me
and
really
then,
bad
give
things.
me an example, like of what you're like, because like the do's and don'ts of like buying a house, or
Like, do people like say, is it bad to just jump on the first thing you see
Oh my
that you
gosh.
like?
Yeah, like that kind
Okay.
of stuff.
okay, I would.
Is it better to
say-
kind of look at some things before you make a?
I would say the right house, like when with buyers, in my experience, you can walk into a house and be like, oh, this isn't us.
Yeah,
This doesn't fit our lifestyle. This doesn't
I
this
totally
doesn't
understand.
Layout, like
So,
all that. Yeah.
like the house has to make sense for you. So I feel like buyer do's and don'ts. Like I feel like a buyer now, obviously, if you're the first house you go
That's
look
going to
at
be a little bit
is
different.
amazing, and you like want it. I've had a lot of people that are like, we're gonna go look at 3 other houses real quick. Well,
They already
lose out
know.
on that first one,
But they already know when you
Yeah.
see it.
yeah,
Just
and
go
so
for
you
it,
do.
yeah.
I always tell people like
Mhm.
the house that's
It's
meant
a
for
feeling.
you. Yeah, it really is. And it's an emotional thing. And I would say that like you walk into a house, I feel like
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
like
Do you think that's the same thing for a first time homeowner though? Like,
well,
because like when you have a house, once you've had your first one, you're able to live in it and go, I hate
I
this
know
about
what-
this
yeah,
house.
like this, you
Yeah.
don't
Right?
like this. Yeah.
You're like, I hate
You're coming
this,
from an
right?
apartment or something.
Yeah,
like, you
yeah, yeah.
That first house just might be
Right.
super grand because it's
Yeah.
not an apartment, so you're
Or-
automatically
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so great. So I can see that.
Right,
But I
right, right.
still think there is still that feeling.
Yes.
Like I knew
Yeah.
when I pulled up to the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
I knew when I didn't even get in the house.
And you knew.
And I knew.
Mhm.
They took me out through
Dude,
the woods
that's-
and into
that's
the yard.
interesting.
And I was like,
The-
I don't care about what's inside the house.
Sign me up.
That can be changed.
That's interesting. You said that
Property can't.
because when I bought the house that I have now, like we pulled into the neighborhood and I said, "Yeah, this is it."
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
It was. I haven't
Really?
seen the house
You
yet.
haven't seen the
That's-
house
I
yet?
just
That's
like
how it
I could
was.
see myself like coming home
Yes.
every day and going
Yep.
like,
I had that
"Yes,
same feeling.
yes."
I had that same feeling.
And that's
Yeah.
the one that always works out. I
Mhm.
feel like the house that like if it's meant for you,
Mhm.
it always works out. And some of the craziest situations have happened. And I'm like, I tell people like, don't get so frustrated. Like buyers, especially in this
Mhm.
market, like the house that's meant for you will always find you, no matter what.
Just be
Yep.
And-
patient.
Yep, and that is hard.
If it doesn't work out, then it just wasn't meant
And
for
I
you.
truly feel that because my house was listed with a realtor for 6 months and not one person came to look at it.
Why?
Wait, what year?
Exactly.
When was this?
This was 12 years ago.
Oh, okay, 12 years ago. Okay,
Oh, you're in the
okay.
tank.
Oh,
That's when everything was in the tank,
But I'm
right?
telling you, then he put it on Craigslist with the same listing as what it was. I was sold by the listing. So I don't see how.
Yes,
But
yes,
what was
that's true.
crazy
Because the
is
house was
I had
meant for him.
I had never looked at Facebook or Craigslist for real estate, but we had already looked at houses for over a year and could not find anything we were like crazy about.
So
This was the first house that was on. I mean, it had just got posted,
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
and he's like, "You were the first one to come and see it."
Shut
I'm
up.
like,
So
How
would you
has it
say
been
the
on market
house
this
the
long
house
and
chooses
nobody
its
snagged it?
owner?
It's kind
To
of
a
like
certain
that.
degree?
To a certain degree.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt. I'm like, how was that possible
Yep.
that nobody went and saw this house? But it was the first
You
one on
happened
the
to-
list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd never looked at Facebook or Craigslist for a house before. I was like, I saw houses on Craigslist, and I was like, oh,
Well, let's try it
let's
out.
try that.
Let's
And it
do
was the
that.
very first house. Like it
But
was.
this wasn't
It
working.
said
Let's
like
try
posted
that.
2 minutes ago. I was like, this is it right here.
This is that.
I
See?
called my real estate lady,
Yeah.
which you probably know is Patty Miller.
Yeah, I
That's
love
my aunt.
Patty. Oh no way!
Yeah, that's my aunt.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
Patty
I love
and Dean.
Patty.
Yep, that's my
Yeah.
aunt and uncle.
Come on
She-
down, Patty. Come
Yeah,
on
come
down.
on,
She had
Patty.
been
Come
showing me
Patty.
houses for over a year. I've been dragging her all these places. Well, I found this
Yeah.
on Craigslist, and it was for sale by owner.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on. Like my aunt's been with me through all this, so I used her, and she helps me do all the paperwork and
Yep.
stuff, and I still paid her commission.
Well, and so I think that's a misconception too. I'm going to touch on that a little bit.
Ooh,
is that
tell us
people-
about it.
Well, because like for sale by owners, a lot of people are doing for sale by owners because they
Mhm.
want to save money and get the most.
You still got to go through people.
Well, so here's
Still have
the
to
thing
close.
with for sale by owners. I've had people who I was working with for a while, and then they found a for sale by owner. And I coach my clients like, hey, if you find a for sale by owner, most of them are willing to work with us. And if they're not willing to pay a commission, that's fine. You can pay it. Like,
Mhm.
and I'll work with you. Because I would much rather represent my client than for them to not have representation. And I
Mhm.
did have someone who purchased a house that was for sale by owner, and the person was like, you can't even contact your agent. I will not sell this house to you if you contact your agent. Well, we found out after she purchased it that it's because there was like over $30,000 worth of like damage.
So
and,
it
like,
was,
other
it was a
things.
meth house.
They were, well, I don't know about that.
I mean,
But,
sorry, I was
yeah.
jumping to conclusions.
I mean, it wasn't self-done. So,
Yeah. So those are that's a huge point. So why would someone work with a realtor? So okay, not just a realtor,
Yeah.
but with you.
oh,
Like
oh,
what's the experience to work with you? Because there's
okay.
realtors.
Well, I mean,
And
So I get
Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah.
myself.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's talk about you. Yeah. Yeah.
Today.
What about
Just look
you?
at me. Why wouldn't you?
Look, you see,
I can be fun.
Look.
Okay. I
you're
know,
gonna have an
right?
awesome experience.
We can have an awesome experience. Honestly, I feel like people should work with realtors because having that legal representation for somebody who's like in your corner, making sure that everything is good. You want to make sure that the money that you're spending on this house is being spent well.
Mhm.
Like,
Because there's a lot of bells and whistles that a homeowner, when they're buying, they get blinded by those.
well,
And they don't think about some of that other
stuff.
things that go along with it,
Mhm.
and that's where you come in.
Well, and like you said, like first time home buyers, they may have never had to take care of a home,
Or don't know what to
don't know
do
what
to buy a home,
Yup, or
Yep.
whatever.
What's the
So-
process?
Right.
Mhm.
So, educating, I feel like that's like the biggest part of our job is just educating people, no matter what stage in life they are, because
Mhm.
there's people that have been living in their house for, 60, 70 years and have never had to buy another house.
Mhm.
And now they're in a completely different market, completely different time,
Things have changed.
yeah. And like, you want to educate them on how we can better sell your house, list it to sell it. And then, hey, what are you looking for?
Mhm.
It's all about your clients. I mean,
Right.
your opinion doesn't matter in a sense, because like it's not for you. Like the house isn't for you, it's for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
Um,
and also you're technically working for free until the house
Oh,
sells.
100% free.
So
yeah.
it's like you're like a financial advisor in
Yeah.
some aspects of it, because if they don't find what they're looking for, you don't make any money.
Right. And, we don't make any
Mhm.
money until we're after the closing table,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
Mhm.
Because, honestly, real estate doesn't feel like work. We
Mhm.
put a lot of hours in,
Mhm.
but like it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
I love what I
Ooh,
do.
talk about that hours. Talk about the hours.
my
What's the
God.
time
So-
commitment? Talk about that.
Well, when people want to see stuff, they don't
So-
have it's
well-
not just a 8 to 5.
No, I mean, we're literally on call 24/7
Mm-hmm.
because I worked with a girl, she was buying her first house and she worked thirds. So she got off of work between 3 and 5 a.m. And she, as soon as she would get off work, she would text. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, and this is when I was
This is gonna be the death of me.
first starting out
You're
too.
like,
And I was
"Oh."
like, it's 3 a.m. And I'm like, okay,
Um,
text back. I'm like, yeah, we can set those up. Like, we're good. Yeah, I'll get those set up. Like, what time can you go look at them? Like,
Because if you don't respond, you could
No,
you
you
could potentially lose her.
well, and
Yep.
I think it's also I have not lost very many clients.
And why is that?
But I will because I feel like I'm
'Cause you're on
very
top of it,
responsive.
right?
I'm
She's
responsive.
good at
yeah.
what she does.
Yeah.
I like what I do. And I care about my people. And so
There it is.
I do make them a priority and in a sense, because I also have a family. So, they're also a priority to me.
You
So
gotta find
the
that happy
balance,
medium,
yeah.
Mhm.
I would say that's another obstacle actually is just finding the balance because
Yeah.
I've had over the last few years had some things that came up
Right.
even just like with my pregnancy with my son. He had to have blood transfusions while I was pregnant with him. So, balancing the trip to Indianapolis to Riley Hospital, I had to be there for 3 days. So I was depending on
Your team.
my
See?
team. We have a great office, and everybody's so willing to help. And I think that's another huge thing. It's just like the
Not
community,
cutthroat, competitive.
the community that we have. Everybody's so willing to like pitch in and help. So like, that's another thing. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And full discretion, we did buy this building from through.
You actually
Crystal.
did buy it from me, but I was
Yes.
having a blood
Technically.
transfusion.
Technically, yeah.
At the time.
You see, you can sell even if you're not even in the room, man. So
because I have an amazing.
it's your team.
yeah,
I was
So
gonna say-
I wanted to
amazing-
touch on that
I
though.
was gonna say
yeah.
it is about the team because
Yes.
I mean real estate can get cutthroat and there
Yeah.
can be other real estate agents that could have found that as an opportunity to
Undercut
slide
you.
right in.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but that's the difference between going independent
Mhm.
versus having a team, or it's just you have the right
That-
people around you.
You
to
do
help.
That- and I
to
think-
have
I
the
think
right
the-
people around you, the
Mhm.
support.
That and I think it helps that a lot of the people around here have like that. I would say they're not that cutthroat.
They're family.
Yeah.
Your family. I
The
actually.
big agents.
Yeah.
I don't know about some of these little pop-ups I see every once in
So
a
we're
while.
not knocking on those people.
No.
They're new.
Well,
Yeah.
and that is
And-
a thing.
Is there heart in it really, or is that where the money's at?
Well,
So that's where and when the money dries up, are you still going to be in it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
During COVID, all these agents were making because I can't even tell you. It was so crazy at that point. And, agents were making money, good money,
Mhm.
even with everybody on lockdown. But a lot of people decided to get their real estate license at that time.
Mhm.
So we had
I
we had a
almost did.
lot. Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I took
yeah.
the test.
Yeah.
I
And
took the
it's
test and
it's-
I got pretty
Mhm.
scored pretty high because I was an HVAC guy before, so I knew a lot
So
of
you had a lot
the
You knew how to
technical
work
like the
on-
whole like showing the picture of the house, and can you tell what equipment is in the house based upon the pipes that are coming out of the house and things like that. Like I was like dead on
You're
on
like,
that.
He's standing outside.
know
That's a
what
good
that is.
investment. Let's get that.
98%
That one.
furnace, 3 steer, you know.
He's
Let's
like
do it.
rolling numbers. He's like, yeah. Let's pass on this.
No,
one.
I really did. And it's still always kind of been something that's always been in my head, but
It's fun. So I will say, anybody that's considering getting their license, obviously I love what I do, so I would recommend somebody to get their license.
But is the market saturated right now?
So
I mean, with realtor, I'm saying like because everyone,
yes and
there's
no.
a shortage of homes.
There's a shortage of homes, and we have lots of buyers.
and there's lots of buyers.
Yeah, I would say, so
Don't discourage,
it's gonna take.
but-
Well, no,
Yeah.
but it's gonna take you. Every agent is different, but I would say stay in the business for 2 years, a minimum of 2 years. A lot of people do quit before their second year.
It's
But
rough
the
out
first,
there.
it is tough. And one of the recommendations I was given when I started was, don't give up your part-time job for the first 2 years. And it's like, oh, okay. Because, you do have
Still
dues.
have cash flow.
Yep, you do have dues. You have to
Yeah.
buy signs. You got to get cards. Like, you gotta supply, like, you got to get
It's
all
not
your
free.
supplies.
Yeah.
No, and it's not cheap
Right.
a lot
either.
of driving around.
Yeah, and your gas. That's why we have hybrids.
Bicycles.
But
When you're getting started, you're going to be riding your
You
bicycle.
bicycle up with the
He
helmet
said,
on there.
hey, just follow me.
oh my gosh, I can picture that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Starting
You're gonna
out,
love it.
I'm gonna send a friend over with an iPad. I'm just gonna Skype you.
Well, we're going to see my filing cabinet.
Wait a minute. Are you at home? Is this your house?
Right.
Is this? No?
Oh my god.
Okay, so the first sale might be my own home. I'll meet you there.
I'll meet you there. Oh,
Why are you cooking in this house?
no. Yeah, so I wouldn't discourage it, but I also would just recommend don't quit your day job
Mhm.
for the first 2 years at
Mhm.
least, and in this market too, because you have to work harder in this market.
Right.
I feel like to get started.
Mhm.
Unless you know like everybody in every single town, then yeah, and you can sell every single one of them a house.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
yeah.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
a couple things I want to just kind of add. How would they get in contact with you if they're looking for a realtor with awesome, bubbly personality that makes $1 million a week? That means they could sell your stuff. That
has
means
the
your
same
house can be
info.
sold, or they can find you something for you to buy.
Yeah.
Like, how would they get in touch with you?
So I do have Facebook. Now, I'm not going to lie. I am not the best at keeping up with posts on that, but I do have Facebook. They can get me on my personal page, which is Crystal Renee Miller, or I also have my Remax page, which is just Crystal Miller Remax Results.
Mhm.
So I'm on Facebook, and then my website is www.closingwithcrystal.com. They can find my information there, or just Google Crystal Miller Remax, and my phone number shows up. So
Boom.
Yeah.
There it is. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us
absolutely.
on
Thank
the
you
show.
so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you for the building.
Hey,
I love this
You're
place.
welcome.
this show is because of you. Thanks, Crystal.
You're welcome.
Well, from all of us at ViviScape, and let's talk about that. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.